Today, we're going to talk about the curse of being rich. I know some of you are wondering if you heard properly. Yes, the curse of being rich. And maybe you're getting triggered, alarmed, incensed, or outraged. But again, wait a second. First, it's not because I'm saying that being rich can be a curse, that I'm not saying that being poor is not a curse in itself. You know, the two are not mutually exclusive. They can and do coexist. Second, it is not a value judgment. It is not pro-rich, it's not anti-poor, even if I know that the nuances have left the room a long time ago and everything must now live in extremes. That's not the case. It is simply a statement that is based on my observations over the last couple of decades. So before you render your verdict on me being an untitled B or C, depending on your mood, let me present my case. And some of the points that I'll mention actually apply only to those who were born in wealth, while others actually relate to both the ones who were silver spoon and the ones who were self-made. So the first question when you are rich, who are your friends and allies? And by that, I mean the real ones. And I think that it's probably what I witnessed the most when I'm working with wealthy individuals. It's the sheer number of sycophants and leeches that are orbiting around them. And this is, for me, without question, the saddest part of being rich. And don't think that, okay, if you only associate with rich people when you're wealthy yourself, you can escape it. Absolutely not. There is always a play. Even if it's just to be seen with you somewhere, somehow, someone wants to get something from you. That's as simple as that. I remember actually working with someone who was, I'm not going to call it a silver spoon heir, because at this level it was more gold spoon heir. Lovely guy. But yet the number of vultures on his payroll was astronomical. And, you know, when I was actually working with him, I was explicitly told to associate myself with the family and ride their coattails, or that in a few years we could be running the whole show, which didn't happen. A bit of Schadenfreude here. And I must admit that when very naively I started speaking my mind and pushing back on, you know, the strategy, but also the cronyism, nepotism, cronyism, it did not go very well. And even with the golden boy who actually I was trying to protect, he began to see me as difficult and not a team player. And that is the core challenge for wealthy individuals. They don't know what is real. They don't know who is real. Especially when you're born into it from day zero, you're exposed to distortion, manipulation, instrumental relationships. You don't know which side is up and which side is down. It's very, very difficult actually to have some type of judgment because you have no idea what's what. And you might think that being self-made actually protects you, that you can simply stick with your pre-wealth circle, you know, like your childhood friend. And well, that would be unfortunately a misunderstanding of human nature, because not everyone will be happy for you, and many will want a piece of your action. So bottom line, wealth is not easy on the art or on emotional peace. Because again, very tough to know who around you is here for you or here for your money. So the second thing I find very difficult when you're wealthy is that don't expect any credit or any compassion, whatever you do. If you were born rich, whatever you do will be discounted. Your studies, your career, your achievements, even athletic, actually, everything will be seen as the least you can do. And if you fail, expect criticism, very acid, and quiet, or not so quiet, celebration behind your back. And there is a paradox here. On one hand, I totally understand the instinct. With so many resources, achievement, feels like a baseline expectation. But it also ignores the fundamental variable, which is being human. Some people will thrive, but some will crumble under the expectations. They're going to struggle with the guilt, or they will simply long and wish they had a normal average life. I remember thinking of that heir, that he would have been so much happier if he had been born in a middle class family and if he had lived, accordingly. Not everyone is built for great wealth. I think there is a personality to that, and that's why you probably see a lot of self-sabotage, a lot of withdrawal or disengagement, and then what you see as well is the complete absence of compassion from others. I remember this self-made wealthy woman who lost her father, and the reaction was, she has money, so she'll be fine. As if wealth could offset the grief she was feeling, as if money could replace love. So there is more than meet the eye here in the context of wealth. Another big challenge I find is that your life is not really your own, especially if you're born into wealth. Especially when you're coming with these more traditional family structures. Your education, your career, your relationships, your taste, the location where you live, everything is usually predetermined for the greater good of the family. You are a pawn. Maybe you're a very wealthy pawn, but you're a pawn nonetheless. A golden cage is still a cage. And living, well, that's not a clean break, like consequences will be enforced, like nothing is free. So living is not that easy either. The other thing that is challenging when you're wealthy is that everyone wants a piece of you, or rather a piece of your money, your access, your power. Whether you're born rich or you're self-made, one thing becomes constant. You are always being pitched. You are perceived as some kind of gatekeeper, kingmaker, or even ATM with legs. I remember a coworker once telling me that our boss, who was extremely wealthy, should just give her $1 million. And when I asked why, she said, well, it's nothing for him, but it would change my life. I'm not gonna lie, I was floored, not just by the statement, but by the comfort with it. It was made, it was expressed, that moment really crystallized something for me. This was not an exception. This was the tip of the iceberg. So I told her, if 1 million is nothing for him, then $1,000 is nothing for you. You could change someone's life. And I remember I took the example of India. You could change someone's life in India. So why are you doing it? Silence. So when it comes to wealth, I mean, something shifts. People lose their common sense. They lose their dignity. The entitlement really like creeps in very, very fast. And most importantly, the person with wealth lose any humanity in their eyes. You're not a person anymore. You become a tool. You become a mean to an end. You become a transaction. You, as a person, don't matter when you're wealthy. So what is the ideal? Maybe you're changing your mind. Maybe you're like, oh, maybe I should stop dreaming about being wealthy. And I came to a conclusion a while ago that the ideal position in life may well be upper middle class. As a child, you have support, but you still have freedom and choice. As an adult, you have means, but you don't become a magnet for extraction. You have enough to live well, but not enough to distort reality. Because, like beyond a certain point, wealth stops being purely an asset, and it becomes really a shape, a force, sorry, that reshape every human interaction around you. So it's a topic I've been thinking of quite a bit because I think we're really putting a bit too much on faces on being rich, but people don't really realize the drawbacks it comes with it, which doesn't mean there is no drawbacks in being poor. Obviously, there are plenty. It's two different things. So thank you so much for listening, and talk to you next week. Bye bye.